Hello guys, Evans here, and welcome to this video. So in this video, I'm going to be solving the October November 2018 IGCSE ICT paper 2. We'll be looking at a section on database, which is simply data manipulation. So task 3 says you are now going to prepare some reports using related tables in a database. Make sure all currency values display the same currency symbol of your choice and are set to 0 decimal places. Dates are to be displayed in this format: DD, MMM, and YYY. Okay, step 22. Import the file n218 customers.csv into a suitable database package, and you're going to use these field names and data types. Okay, so for the field names, all of them but members, member date, all of them are text except for member date. Member date should be in this format: DD, MMMM, 3 M's rather, and 2 Y's. And an example of that date is that one. So that's the medium date. Okay, and you set the customer number field as primary key and you save the data. Okay, so let's go ahead and do just that. So I'm going to open up my Access, create a blank database. I'm going to call this one, let's say October underscore November 2018 paper 2. Okay, so create it. Okay, all right, so the next thing that we'll do is to import that file. So go to external data, text file, and import the work. Okay, so it's supposed to be in this folder. So I'm going to go inside this folder. It's called customers, I guess. Customers.csv. This is the one here. Import it. And now you go through the normal step of importing a file. Okay. So I guess you guys are quite familiar now with this stage. So you can go ahead and change the data types from here if you want, or you can click on advanced and you'll see the data types listed here. All of them are short text, but member date is date with time, which is what we want. The other thing that we want is to make sure that your order date is set as DMY, which is day, month, year, and that leading zeros are also allowed in your document. Okay. So if it's possible to have a 4-digit year, it'll be possible, but if it doesn't work out, then don't stress yourself. It's fine. Okay. So go ahead, go to next and set your own primary key. We're setting the customer number field as primary key. So customer number is this one, and set it as primary key. Okay, so I'll call this one as my customer table. Okay, finish. All right, good. And then the next question asks us to provide evidence showing the field names and data types used in the table. Place this in your evidence document. Okay, so go ahead and change it to design view, and you're supposed to get evidence of this. Okay, so I'll get the evidence before I close this window. But let me change the date format so that it is to medium date. So in case you cannot see medium date like this, please, you can type in the date format from here: DD dash MMM, like that, dash YY, and that should be able to give you the medium date. On some versions of Access, you will not be able to get these dates listed here, and so it may be a little bit different for you to do that. So that's that. So we'll leave the date like that, and I'll get a screenshot of this window. Just get a screenshot of this one and paste it in your evidence document as the evidence for the data types. Okay, right, good. Next step is let me just go view it in datasheet mode. the date is as we want it to be. That's fine. So we'll go back to the question. Step number 23 says import the file n218orders.csv as a new table in your database. Make sure that the order value is formatted as currency. And remember, we're told something about the currency, that we to use the currency symbol of our choice, and that we set it to 0 decimal places. So we can use even the default currency for the application. That doesn't matter. So yeah, and then we'll set the order ID field as a primary key, and we'll create a one-to-many relationship between customer number in the customer table and customer ID in the fields in the customer ID field in the orders table. So let's go ahead and import the orders table. I'm going to close this external data text file, and in that folder I'm looking for orders, and say okay, and go ahead and go through the normal process of creating that. So I'm not changing much here except for the currency. So the order value, let's just verify which one is supposed to be set as currency. Order value should be set as currency. So go ahead and order value here, change it, order value, change it as currency. That should be fine. We have no dates in this table, so that should be fine as well. And yeah, so go through next, and here just go next. And for the primary key, we'll set order ID as instructed. We set order ID as primary field. Okay, and that should be fine. Next, this one I'll call it my order table. Okay, then the next thing we're supposed to do is to create a relationship between the customer table and the order table. So go to database tools, relationships, select both tables and add them there, close. Okay, and we'll just drag customer number from here to customer ID there. It's a one-to-one relationship. Enforce reference integrity, and I've said about this that reference integrity just checks to see that all the fields that you have in your or rather all the records in one table, they have got represented fields in other tables. So there should be an existing match for each record in the other table. So if you have, for example, one field in one table, and these two tables are linked in a way, so reference integrity will check that there is a match for that record that is in one table. Okay, otherwise you may find there's a record in one table, but you don't have a corresponding record value or primary or rather foreign key for the other table. So that may be a little bit of a challenge on some records. So not that tables like that don't exist. In fact, I should stress here that tables like that do exist, which do not have a corresponding value in another table. And so if you try to enforce reference integrity, you'll be told that it cannot be done. So don't stress yourself. That just means that for this table, the integrity is compromised, and yeah, so you'll not be able to enforce reference integrity. So the first thing that you need to do is to just uncheck reference integrity like this and be able to create the relationship without reference integrity enforced. In my case, always attempt to make sure that reference integrity is attempted to be enforced in the first case. So create, and if there's no error, it should see a simple 1 to infinite symbol like this. That means reference integrity is enforced. And this, in many database applications, this is a sign that this is a 1 to many. So we'll get a screenshot of this. Make sure that you have the edit relationship window, select the customer table, and the relationship is about this. So you get a crop of just these 3 objects on the screen, and that should be a relationship to show that you've created your, rather that should be evidence to show that you've created your relationship. Okay, good. All right, so today I'm not pasting this stuff in my evidence document because I want to save on time. I'm supposed to go away in the next 20 minutes or so. Let me just say in the next 15 minutes. So I should finish the part, this part in the next 15 minutes, and perhaps upload it so that you guys can start to work on it as you prepare for your exam tomorrow. Okay, good. So I'll cancel this one and just say, okay, close the relationship. Already created it and save it. So the next thing that you're supposed to do now is step 24, create a columnar data entry form, which will include all the fields from the orders table. And the field headings must be aligned to the left and positioned under each other. So make sure that all fields and data are fully visible and the layout is consistent, and enter appropriate title at the top of the form. Okay, so from the orders table. So we'll go to create, and then we'll have our we can use the form wizard if you want, or you can create using form design, whichever you are comfortable with. Okay, so if you click on form design, you should have add existing fields and show all the tables, and you should have all the tables from the property here, and get all these tables, drag and drop them there, or double click and push them there. Alternatively, this is just one method that you can do this. Alternatively, you can go to the form wizard and select Columnar and be able to create that. So for the sake of time, I'm going to just do this. Just double click there and you should have your table there. Okay, so the next thing that you can do, perhaps let me show you the other method as well, because this method I hardly use it in many applications. So let me just close this, don't save it. So what you do is you go to create from the form wizard, and you select the customer table that you want, like that, and select all the fields from the customer table and do that. Select Columnar next, and then give the table the title for the table. Mine is order table. That's fine because I changed the name to order table, so that's fine. Go to finish, and you should have a form like this. Okay, so that should be fine. The next thing that you need to do is to format. We should have formatted the currency in our table. So just go to the order table design view. Okay, so it's been used. So just save this one and close it. And then go to the order table design view and make sure that the currency is set to 0 decimal places. We don't mind which currency symbol we are using, so that's why here it's not even necessary to select any of this. By default, your access should have been set to use any, but it's fine. I'll just leave it at that. Do that, save. And you should see that your values should be just to 0 decimal places. I'll close up this. I'll go to my order table as well and set the currency. So here, just order value, go to property sheet and set it a number of decimal places, set it to 0, and the currency, I'll just go for the currency default. Take it to form view and you should see the value like that. Okay, we were told that we should have consistent values, so rather consistent form. So make sure that the objects are consistent and uniform. So I'll just reduce this. It's pointless of having large forms like this when you're not going to use so much space. So just leave them like that. That looks good. So this is done, and the next thing that you're supposed to do is go to we've entered the title. So here we use the form to create. We created in the previous step to enter following details, and these are the details that we want to enter. So I'm going to just do this. So
why didn't you pay for this beat though?
New record, and here you will enter the details. So the customer ID is THM 004. Can I just copy these, paste them here, change it to form view if you want to enter the values, and paste that. Move the space. Customer ID is supposed to be T201. It's T201, and the year is, let's get, year is 2017, then 4210160. Okay, so 2017, then 4210160. Just verify that you have the correct data. If you do, that should be fine. And go ahead and save this one. So first of all, you need to provide evidence of this data. Save the data. So it's it is supposed to be two. The order. This is the order table. So the order ID is the record. So it is T201. So notice that it's the primary key T201. In case you save and this form resets and goes to a different form, or rather record, then you should know that it is supposed to be T201, the record that you're looking at. So save it, and it doesn't change. So go ahead and get a screenshot of this. This is evidence that you've entered your data in your form. Go ahead and paste it in your evidence document. Perfect. Okay, good. The next thing that you're supposed to do is step number 26. Okay. Step 26 says tax of 20% is to be added to each order value. So using fields from both tables, produce a report which contains a new field called gross value, which is calculated at runtime and displayed at currency. So this field will calculate the order value plus 20% of the order value, and shows only the records where the year, order year is 2017, pay type contains order value is 90 or more, and shows only the fields customer number, title, first name, last name, order ID, and so on and so forth in that order. Okay, with data and labels in full display. So do not group the data and sort the data into ascending order of pay type, and then ascending order of first of all descending order of pay type, and then ascending order of order value. And has a page orientation of landscape, fits on a single page wide, includes the heading card payments in 2017 at the top of the page, calculates the average order value and places this number below the order value column, displays the average value as currency, and has a label average order value to the left of this value, has your name, settlement candidate number on every page of the report, and save and print your report. And this is very simple, guys, for you to do. Like I've always said, you divide this report into two parts. The first part is about creating a query which you're going to use to extract the data that you want from your database. And then the second one is about report, which involves the presentation of your query data in the form of a report. Okay, I usually say that the first 3 bullet points, they point you to the report, rather the query, what data is supposed to extract. Okay, so always start with this one that tells you which fields must be shown in the correct order. So let's go ahead and get these fields. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to create, and then query wizard. Okay, rather query design. Let's use query design. Select that, add, and then close this. The fields that you need, you simply just double click them in the order in which they have been mentioned. So in this case, we have customer number, title, first name, last name. Customer number, title, first name, last name. And then the next thing that you want is order number, order value, and gross value. So order number, which is supposed to be, is it order ID rather? Order ID, order value. So order ID, order value, and then the next thing is the field calculated at runtime, which is gross underscore value. So we can do this field before we come and put the pay type. So it's gross underscore value, and it's calculated at runtime and displayed as currency. And this field is actually the order value plus 20%. So actually this one can be represented in terms of you guys who are mathematicians, this shouldn't be a problem. So gross value actually can be represented equal to gross value can be equal to so it's supposed to be order value. Okay, order value, and then multiplied by 20%, which is simply 1.2. You guys understand that 20% more, which means it is 100% plus 20%, that gives you 1.2 if you evaluate that. Okay, so you multiply it by 1.2, and this is the simplest of the formulas. Alternatively, what you can do, you can say plus this plus again order value. Then though this one should be in brackets, order value plus and then you have 0.2. Okay, order value plus 0.2, 0.2, which is simply just not plus but multiply by 0.2. Okay, so this is the same thing as saying that 1.2, if you get order value as 1, so you have, it's as good as saying this is as good as saying equal to do this. This is good as saying, I'm just trying to show you that this is why we're multiplying it by 1.2. If order value is 1, it will be 1 let's say order value, this is the 100 plus order value plus multiplied by 1.2, which is something like 20, which is it's 100 multiplied by 0.2, and this is something like okay, so this gives you something like it is 100 plus 20. You mathematicians, this shouldn't even be thin. I'm just doing it for the sake of the guys who are there. So this is about 120. Okay, so if it's 120 and 120, this is representing percentage, so it is something like 120 divided by 100, and that's why we end up with the factor. If you divide it by 100, you end up with the factor 1.2, and this is why initially I just multiplied by 1.2. Okay, so I was just showing you where this is coming from. So so on axis here, we'll just say gross value as the name of the runtime field, put a colon, and then square bracket, which is order value. You need to make sure here that you type the field names as they are. Where there's uppercase, they should be uppercase, and where there is lowercase, they should be lowercase. Otherwise, you're going to have some errors such as parameter missing. Okay, so this is supposed to be order value. At the end, close this and multiply it by 1.2, and that should be the factor that we're looking for. So the last field then should be pay type, and put pay type there. Go ahead and preview this one and notice that you should have that. So it's the order value plus 20%, which is 108. We just need to format this as currency. So go ahead and save this query. So this query is supposed to be saved as the query is supposed to be saved as what? This is step number 26. So say step 26 query. Okay, right, good. So that is done, and take it to design view. So yeah, so this is done. We need now to extract the data that we want. The year is 2007, pay type contains card, and order value is 2090 or more. So here we need to add the year because the year is not part of the field, so we'll just say order year, and then it doesn't need to be shown, so we'll put just 2017. Run it, and all the 2017 fields are listed. If you want to verify, you can check this and just run it again, and you'll see that it selects 2017. I'll take it to design view and uncheck this one. I don't need it. Then I go to I'll go to which one now? Contains card. Okay, so pay type contains card. So pay type is here, contains card, so which means we use wildcard like that to find card. And then the order value is 90 or more. So order value, which is here, which is supposed to be greater or equal to 90. All right, run it again, and this is what you should have. Okay, well done. Next thing that we're supposed to do is to, so we now have this done. So we just need to highlight some stuff there. So this is done. Even this one is done. So yeah, the next thing that you're supposed to do is to actually perform this part. So I'm gonna have to stop the video here. It seems I didn't manage to think. So I'm gonna pause it, just pause it, and then perhaps I'll continue the video in the next 45 minutes. So I'm just going to pause it here. Okay, good. All right, see you shortly.
Purchase your tracks today.